Hello fellow cyclists and bike travellers. Back in 1993, just after the Iron Curtain had fallen and Europe was finally at peace for the first time ever, the Danish had just completed installing a national cycling network. Compelled by this success, one of the involved planners, Jens Erik Larsen, started work on a proposal for a European cycling network, giving people the chance to discover all the continent had to offer from north to south and east to west, and helping bring nations and cultures together. It took some years for this vision to become a reality, but it's gained a lot of momentum. And now the map is full of colourful squiggly lines going in all directions, giving local economies a boost and providing countless memorable bike touring experiences. Hi, I'm Eddie.
And I'm Vera, and I'm doing the editing.
And in this video, I'd like to give an update on how much has been achieved, where progress is stalling, and what we can look forward to in the near future. For those who aren't familiar with the EuroVelo network, let's get down to some basics and get an overview. When finalized, the network should be about 91,000 kilometers long, of which 63,000 kilometers have been completed. But as the vision had started out with 12 routes and has since been expanded to 17, it might get even longer still. We've personally cycled many stretches ourselves and have even one of the routes passing right in front of our home, which is a strange coincidence, but also gives us easy access, so that's pretty cool. Anyway, chances are there's a EuroVelo close to where you live, providing you live in Europe, of course. The EuroVelo 1, or Atlantic Coast Route, leads from North Cape in Norway to Comminges in Portugal. We've cycled a part of this route in France, from Maron to Nantes. The EuroVelo 2, or Capitals Route, starts in Galway in Ireland and goes to Moscow. We've only cycled a small part of this stretch from Utrecht to Den Haag in the Netherlands. The EuroVelo 3, or Pilgrims Route, leads from Trondheim in Norway to Santiago de Compostela in Spain. We've cycled several parts of this route, in Denmark from Frederikshavn to Flensburg, in Germany from Hamburg to Cologne, in Belgium from Liège to Namur, in France from Orléans to Tours, from Marmont to Langon, from Dardenac to Bordeaux, and from Clairac to Châteauneuf-sur-Charente. The EuroVelo 4, or Central Europe route, leads from Roscoff in France to Kiev. We've cycled parts of this route in France from Le Havre to Fécamp, and in Germany from the Dutch border near Venlo to Mainz, and from Gemünden am Main to Oxenfurt. The EuroVelo 5, or Via Romea, leads from Canterbury in the United Kingdom to Brindisi in Italy. We've cycled a part in Italy from Piacenza to Pavia, in France from Strasbourg to the Swiss border in Basel, and in Germany from Saarlouis to Schengen in Luxembourg. The EuroVelo 6, or Atlantic Black Sea route, leads from Saint-Brevin-les-Pins in France to Constanta in Bulgaria. We've cycled two major parts, from Saint-Brevin to Orléans in France, and further along from Gien all the way to the Austrian capital, Vienna. The EuroVelo 7, or Sun route, leads from North Cape in Norway to Valletta in Malta. We've cycled a section of this route in Italy, from Bolzano to Bagnolo San Vito. The EuroVelo 8, or Mediterranean route, goes from Cadiz in Spain to Nicosia in Cyprus. We've covered the complete stretch from Aguillas in Spain to Imperia in Italy, and also along the Po River in Italy from Bagnolo San Vito to Pavia. The EuroVelo 9, or Baltic-Adriatic route, runs from Dansk in Poland to Pula in Croatia, and we've only cycled a small part south of Vienna in Austria. The EuroVelo 10, or Baltic Sea cycle route, is a round trip circling the Baltic Sea, starting and ending in Dansk in Poland. We've cycled the part in Germany from Flensburg to Kiel. The EuroVelo 11, or East Europe route, stretches from North Cape in Norway to Athens in Greece. Unfortunately, we've never cycled any of this route before. The EuroVelo 12, or North Sea cycle route, is also a round trip, starting and ending in Bergen in Norway. We've cycled a complete stretch from Rotterdam in the Netherlands to Grena in Denmark. The EuroVelo 13, or Iron Curtain Trail, follows Europe's Old Great Divide, all the way from Grenze Jakobselv in Norway to Reservoir in Turkey. We cycled a small part in Germany from Witzenhausen to Geisa. The EuroVelo 14, or Waters of Central Europe, runs from Zell am See in Austria to Valence in Hungary. It is the EuroVelo's latest edition, and we haven't had the chance to cycle any of it yet. The EuroVelo 15, or Rhine cycle route, runs from Andermatt in the Swiss Alps to Hoek van Holland in the Netherlands. This is the route closest to me, as it passes right by my front door. We've cycled the whole stretch from St. Margrethen in Switzerland to the sea. The EuroVelo 17, or Rhone cycle route, goes from Andermatt in Switzerland to Sète in France. We've cycled almost the whole stretch from Brieg in Switzerland to Sète, and also the branch down to Port-Saint-Louis, but not the variation south of Lake Geneva. This is the route we are most familiar with, as we cycled it multiple times while it was under construction and witnessed its development over the years. And finally, the EuroVelo 19, or Meuse cycle route, which starts in Langres in France and ends in Rotterdam in the Netherlands. This is the only route we've cycled in its entirety, a year before it was announced and officially opened. The EuroVelo network is managed by the European Cyclist Federation, ECF, which is mainly financed by national advocacy groups and organizations. They lobby for the completion of routes and are responsible for promotion. As you can imagine, their resources are limited, which is why the EuroVelo network isn't really common knowledge. Videos like the one you're watching are certainly welcome to help spread the word, but I'm not getting any funding. Needless to say, the ECF doesn't finance any routes themselves. The necessary infrastructure is paid for by local and national authorities, and is often a joint effort with the EU. National coordinators, usually organizations rather than individuals, manage routes and marketing at a state and local level. And because Europe is so fragmented, this leads to different results all over and explains why some countries have signage and others don't, and why some countries have almost completed development while others haven't even started yet. It all depends on national and local policies. No doubt, the EuroVelo network is more than just a marketing scheme. Labeling a bike route as a EuroVelo route gives it higher priority, unlocking funding for on-the-ground improvements to infrastructure. So you can expect low-traffic routes, safety features like dedicated cycle paths, services and rest areas, and not to mention the experience of stunning landscapes and deep dives into Europe's historic culture. The standards vary from country to country, and with changing expectations over time too. All of this means that each section has its individual merits, but not all of them are enjoyable in the same way. As the ECF has no jurisdiction over what standards apply, it's down to local individuals and advocacy groups to push for small-scale and incremental improvements that help enhance the network as a whole. So let's have a look at what's been accomplished on a national level. In order to evaluate and compare the different standards, the ECF breaks each country down into 5 levels of progress. At the planning stage, under development, developed, developed with EuroVelo signs, and certified. Certifications are based on the relevant criteria according to the European Certification Standard methodology, developed by the ECF. The certification label ensures a high-quality level for the route, as well as good public transport connections, and availability of information both online and in paper format. But regardless of meeting criteria, any developed route offers a cyclable path that is generally safe and is therefore marked as part of the network on the map. Each year, the ECF evaluates the current status and publishes a report including a nation-by-nation ranking. So who's winning? Last on the list are Malta and Ukraine. Whereas the extension of the EuroVelo 7 to Valletta is only a recent addition, Ukraine isn't really accessible in the current political situation. Not that cycling isn't on the rise in Ukraine, it is, but for other reasons than for bike touring, of course. If you're interested in that, we made a video about it a couple of months ago and have included the link in the description below. But let's get back to the ranking. Next up is Belarus, which is in a similar situation to Ukraine, but has 16% under development. So that's a start at least. And there are a further 7 countries, the Republic of North Macedonia, Russia, Montenegro, Albania, Cyprus, Bulgaria, and Romania, that haven't passed the planning or developing stage yet. But then the numbers pick up pretty quickly. 29th in the ranking is Lithuania, 28th is Sweden, 27th is Finland, 26th is Italy, and 25th is Poland. So there are some pretty major cycling destinations among the lower ranks. Further countries with large gaps in the network are Slovenia, coming in at 24th, and Latvia at 23rd. But competition amongst the remaining countries is fierce, as they all boast at least 80% of developed routes on their parts of the network. Greece is the newest addition to this group and comes in at 22nd. Portugal ranks 21st because only a fraction of the routes is signposted and marked, and Norway just about makes it into the top 20. Croatia in 19th, the UK in 18th, Germany in 17th, and Slovakia in 16th place are all in the solid midfield. On the top side of the list, Spain comes in at 15th, just behind Luxembourg at 14th, Turkey at 13th, Denmark, which slides in at 12th, and Czechia in 11th place. The top 10 consists of some expected and not so expected players, especially the non-EU members. Ranking 10th is Europe's top cycling nation, the Netherlands, lagging behind Hungary in 9th and Austria in 8th. Ireland comes in at 7th, even though there are still some small gaps in the network, which, surprisingly, can't be said of Serbia, which appears in 6th place. Then in 5th place is a new contender, previously unlisted, the Principality of Liechtenstein. We'll get back to that a bit later because this is quite some news. But let me reveal who's at the top of the list first. 4th then is Belgium as the top Benelux nation. 3rd is Estonia, which has completed and signposted all of its 2,460-kilometre-long section. And a strong 2nd is France, which has muscled its way to becoming Europe's top cycling destination. And leading the pack is, surprise, surprise, mountainous Switzerland, where we're recording this video and which hasn't just completed all of its network, but also boasts the highest rate of certified routes. Which doesn't mean it's crossed a finish line, because even here, there's still much room for improvement, and things that need to be attended to. It'll be interesting to see which nation achieves the 100% certified routes first and grabs that win. So, with each nation and region at different stages, how does this tally out for the individual routes? Let's have a look at how far they've progressed so far. Again, the ECF has given out a ranking. It's weighted, so the total percentage of development doesn't always equal the place each route is ranked, which can be slightly confusing, but overall, it makes sense. At the bottom of the list is the Capitals route, number 2, trailing behind the East Europe route, number 11, the Sun route, number 7, the Baltic-Adriatic route, number 9, the Baltic Sea route, number 10, the Mediterranean route, number 8, the Iron Curtain Trail, number 13, and the Via Romea, number 5. These routes have about half of their length completed. Ranking 9th is the Central Europe route, number 4, followed by the Pilgrims route, number 3, and the Atlantic Black Sea route, number 6. These routes have about 3/4 of their length finalized. Closer to completion are the North Sea Cycle route, number 12, the Rhone Cycle route, number 17, the Waters of Central Europe, number 14, and the Atlantic Coast route, number 1. This route, which ranks 3rd, is basically finished, but is only signed for half the way. There's only one route that can be cycled in its entirety with arrows leading you all the way, which is the Meuse Cycle route, number 19. Ironically, even though we've cycled all of it, we never saw a sign once, because they only appeared a year later. Top of the list is the route that passes right by here, the Rhine route, number 15, which still has a small part under development, but beats the Meuse River route because it has also been certified for 3/4 of its length. That said, the Meuse River also boasts a high standard of quality, so the reason why it's not certified may simply be because nobody has got around to doing that yet. This isn't a complaint. The EuroVelo network is growing at a rapid pace, so people seem to be pretty busy. One of the most recent examples is Greece, which finalized almost its entire part of the network within a year, up from a measly 5% to a whopping 96% since the last report came out. A further example is Poland, which added a further 336 kilometers or 6% of its network. Italy, in turn, signposted 640 kilometers along the EuroVelo 7, and France got its section of the EuroVelo 1 certified. We've given a first-hand report about some of the recent improvements on this stretch and have included a link in the description below. Not mentioned in the EuroVelo status report are the improvements made in Belgium on the EuroVelo 5. But we've also made a video on that, so go check it out if you want to know more. We're also planning to make a video about the brand new portion of the EuroVelo 15 along the Rhine River. This now gives you the option to cross the Swiss border and cycle through Austria and Liechtenstein, the small forgotten country finally getting connected with the rest of Europe. This achievement wouldn't have been possible before the Iron Curtain fell, and certainly not before it was erected either. It has taken decades of peace and stability to even get this far, and will require many more decades for it to evolve into a seamless network, all the while becoming a symbol of peace within Europe, inviting its citizens to participate. Cycling isn't only a peaceful way to travel. Having safe scenic routes to follow enables you to explore Europe's diverse landscapes and history in detail, and engage with the rich culture, connect with locals, and form bonds that can last a lifetime, regardless of language, customs, or religion. The thing is, on a bicycle, we're all the same. The experience, hardship and struggles, joy and accomplishment is something we all share when touring by bike. So enough of all the statistics and watching videos. It's time to saddle up and get cycling. Give the video a like and the channel a subscribe if you think so too, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.
And thanks for watching and keep on cycling.